All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Chingy. I'm a workforce specialist at JVS Toronto. And today we have a special and amazing guest, sorry, gift as well, right? Gift to see you, Tav Khera. Please, Tav, present yourself. Tell us about yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Tav. I'm currently a talent recruiter. I work at ApplyBoard. I look after the entire customer experience department, which is about 150 plus people, and we're rapidly growing. Check out our job board.
Awesome. Tell us about the company, please. What do you do?
For sure. So ApplyBoard, we recently just became a unicorn, the third unicorn in Canada, and one of the quickest unicorns in Canada. ApplyBoard is pretty much a platform that provides a streamlined and centralized application process for international students to apply to universities abroad. We are currently in the UK, US, and Canada market. So I look after the entire customer experience department. Like I said, the customer experience department is the department that deals with the entire application process. So it's pretty much from the very beginning, from when the student starts the application process, all the way through till the student gets accepted to the university that they've applied to.
All right.
So I oversee all of the roles throughout those teams within that department. Yeah.
All right, that's amazing. Like we are very privileged, everyone, to see right now, like the real unicorn, the real people from the unicorn. Awesome. What's your story? How did you get the job?
How did I get a job? So I've always been passionate about people. That's the one thing I knew that I wanted to, I guess the group, oh my gosh, let me start again. So I've always been passionate about people, and I've always known that I wanted to help them. And I did my diploma in HR. From there, I got a job in recruitment, which was a fantastic first opportunity. It made me learn very quickly a lot about what it's like to work with hiring managers, what the whole candidate world is like, and I guess just the whole job market. And then from there, I came across ApplyBoard, and I applied. The process was super, super quick, which was one of the things that I really, really appreciated, because I'm sure that many job seekers and candidates can agree that sometimes the hiring process or the recruitment process can take up to 2 months. And I personally think that's such a long time to keep somebody waiting around, but I get it. Sometimes there are things that, or reasons why it goes really long. But I really appreciated that ApplyBoard was so quick with it. When they like someone, they don't wait around.
Awesome. And so since we started talking about processes, what is the hiring process like?
So for the customer experience department, I would say it's pretty straightforward. There's you apply directly to the role. There's a resume screening process. There's a phone screening process. Depending on if the role is junior or if it's senior, it could be either one virtual interview with 2 of the team leads, or it could be 2 to 3 virtual interviews.
And so we're kind of trying to, unravel the mind of a talent acquisition specialist for everyone watching us. So how do people go about through the process of when the hiring need arises into creating a perfect candidate profile, into creating a job description? Maybe you could elaborate on that.
So elaborate on the resume screening process, or is that what you mean?
How the process of the process of development from the hiring into the perfect candidate profile, into the job description. How does this happen at the platform?
Okay, so when it comes to the resume screening part, I personally love a resume. I look for what their professional experiences are. I look for where they went to school, what they studied. I look at what types of skills that they have, transferable skills. I look at what do they do outside of work. I look at more of a holistic profile. And I find the candidates that tend to thrive the best at ApplyBoard are the candidates that have been considered for their entire profile and not just a certain skill set. We look for culture fit. We look for experience. Culture fit, I would say, is tiny bit more important than the experience aspect.
All right. Okay. Awesome. So that's for resumes. What is a no-no? What are some do's and don'ts for you on the resume?
So do's and don'ts. Dues, I would say, make sure the resume is very clear, it's concise, the font is readable, there's adequate spacing. Um, Personally, I like to see the education right at the top. I know a lot of people put the education at the very bottom. I like to see it at the top. And that's how I structure my resume as well. It's right there at the top. And then the communication style. I think that's really, really important when a resume can articulate exactly what the candidate has done, what their experiences have been, and then how those experiences connect to the job that they're applying to.
Well, what is the
Don'ts. Sorry, don'ts?
Keep going.
Okay.
Yeah, don'ts.
So some don'ts. Oh, sorry about that. I just got a call. Okay, so some don'ts. I mean, don't send in a resume that you haven't thought about, that you haven't put much work into. Like, I guess I don't really want to talk about the don'ts. Like, I just want to talk about the do's. Just like focus on doing the research. I'm so sorry. Somebody just keeps calling me on
It's okay.
Skype. Yeah, so I mean the don'ts kind of go hand in hand with the do's.
Should we pause this?
Yeah, sorry, pause it.
Okay, so there was a little interruption, but we're talking about do's of the resume, right?
Yeah. So I mean I could say so many don'ts, but I think it goes hand in hand with what I'm saying with the do's. Make sure you do your research. Make sure you understand what the format of a resume is, how it should look. Understand the fonting. The font is important. Understand the spacing is important. Understand the communication of the whole resume is super, super, super important because that's your foot into the door. That reflects who you are, and it's going to demonstrate to the hiring manager, to the recruiter, to the talent acquisition person, whoever is looking at this resume, that you have a good understanding of the role that you are applying to and how your skill set matches with the profile we're looking for.
I think it's very important what you said, right? That you should be very short and sweet and concise and to the point, because all talent acquisition specialists spend different time on the resume. And I actually ask everyone, how much do you spend? Some people say 6 seconds, some people say 30 seconds. What is your time?
Wow. So when I started to look for a job, I would say put in maybe close to 100. It's just literally going online. It's looking at so many different kinds of resumes. It's listening to people talk about what their perspectives are on resumes. And then I kind of just gather all of that information and I pick what I like and I put it together. And then my final touches on the resume is making sure that it is genuine and that it does align with who I really am. And it's not just a resume that is put together because somebody in the industry said this is the way to go.
All right. I think we lagged a little. How much time do you spend on first scan?
So when I'm looking at a resume?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant how much time did I spend on a resume when I was putting revamping my resume.
When you are scanning them.
When I'm scanning them, I'm gonna say up to 5 minutes, 2 to 5 minutes.
Okay, and then if something piques your interest, you go really in depth, right?
Yes, and it depends on the role too. If it's a senior level role, and there's a lot in the resume that I like, I will spend more time on that resume. But sometimes it's also super, super quick. Sometimes I can look at a resume in 30 seconds, I know.
Awesome. So the resume looks interesting. You pick up your phone, you call the candidate. What are you looking for when you're talking with the candidate?
Their communication style. Are they able to articulate themselves well? I'm really looking for a depth of knowledge in the types of responsibilities that they've done and how do they communicate that to me? Because then that will show me that the types of things that they've done or their experiences, that they've had a really good understanding of the job role, the job tasks, job responsibilities. And when they can relay that to me, it just shows me that that level of understanding, amazing communication skills, good level articulation, and I could see that also, transferring over into that role as well that they've applied to.
Mm-hmm. Do you have that initial feeling from the call that's oh, this person is a culture fit? Or what is your take on culture fit anyways?
I definitely get feelings when I look at a resume. Sometimes I will get a nudge that says, call this candidate. You know, I think it's worth speaking to, or he or she is worth speaking to. If I'm on the phone, say if the candidate doesn't have the experience, maybe not all the experience, but they have a level of drive, and then there's a nudge that says, you know, this candidate is worth pursuing further. There's potential here. I definitely go on my intuition. And what was the other question that you asked?
Like sometimes people say, like, you know, people talk a lot about culture fitness.
Culture,
So,
okay.
yeah, but I understand, like, sometimes like progressive companies and progressive C executive level teammates, right? They always think not like culture fit, but culture adds. Like, what does this person bring into the culture? So, what is your perspective on that?
When it comes to culture, I look for, do they know what we do? I think that's the first thing. Do they know what we do? Have they spent some time looking into our company? That shows me that they do really care about the role that they're applying to, and we're not just any other job. And I think that when they can demonstrate that they care about the role that they're applying to, they're able to make a better case as to why they'd be the best candidate. So level of research, a level of passion for what we do. Our mission is to educate the world. So we definitely want to be surrounded by like-minded individuals. Another thing is, like I said, communication. That's going to be huge because we're a very collaborative organization. We're constantly working with one another. You know, there's meetings all the time. We have extracurricular activities going on. So we're an environment that is constantly encouraging people to work together. And I think communication plays a very, very important role in our ability to work with others.
Awesome. So
I would say, yeah, so I would say level of research, a level of passion, and communication in order to achieve collaboration.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. For everyone who's watching, research goes first, right? This is how people understand whether you really want to work there. So we went through resume, we went to the interview in like phone screening, and then we are in the interview. Once the person is in the room, what are your favorite questions? What do you ask people?
So with this, with the company, I do the screening part. I do everything up until the virtual interview with the team leads. Those are the interviews I've sat in on them, but those are the ones I don't participate in on, just because the team leads want to do that part of the interview process with just their team members or just their team leads. But I know in those interviews, the types of questions that the team leads ask are more skills-based and experience-based, depending on the role. Like, say if you're applying to a role within requirements, those are going to be a lot of like on-the-job type questions. So maybe one of the questions would be, what is your level of knowledge on different educational institutions and markets? So we really want to see if this individual that is applying to a requirements role, which is like an education credential specialist or a coordinator role, that they have an understanding of the international educational landscape. When it comes to maybe like pre-submission, which is like an admissions role, I know that interview is going to be a bit more relaxed. It's still going to be skills-based, but there's going to be behavioral questions in there too.
Right. Awesome. Okay. So moving to the very big element of job hunting, LinkedIn. What's your take on LinkedIn? How important is that? And what do you say about like what job things do you on LinkedIn?
I think LinkedIn is an excellent platform. It's done great things for people to be able to connect to others, to network, and then also just have a platform that is continuously sharing information about the job world, about being professional, about resumes. And I think that's very helpful for a lot of candidates or job seekers or just anybody wanting to learn more about the market. You know, looking for a job, applying for a job isn't something that we're taught in school, and something that we kind of have to learn the hard way in a way, and through experience. So I like that the platform does a great job at educating others on how to do well in the job world or the job market.
Okay, like kind of in a sense also like do's and don'ts, what job hunters should do and what they definitely shouldn't do. What's your take on that?
Do's, again, focus. So you have to do your research to have focus. say if you're reaching out to individuals, imagine, you're sending a message to a hiring manager. They're probably going to be getting 50 to 100 messages, a week, depending on how busy their company is or how reputable their company is. So if you want your message to stand out, you have to have a focus, and you have to relate to them that you have done some research and you're reaching out with an intention, and not just reaching out. So don't do this. Don't just reach out to a hiring manager or a recruiter or someone from a company and say, I'm looking for a job, keep me in mind. Or I'm looking for a job, where do you think I'd fit into your company?
Okay, so many people are like kind of frustrated. I send them cold connects to this recruiter, to this HR, talent acquisition specialist, whatever. They don't respond. Do you respond? How is your responsiveness?
I do, and I'm so proud to say that I respond to every single person. I mean, some days it can get really, really tough, and it can get overwhelming because, you're getting so many different kinds of messages. But the kind of, I guess, brand I want to be associated with, or my level of, expectation for myself, is a high level of responsiveness. So one of the other things that makes LinkedIn valuable is the ability to get a response back when you're networking or when you're reaching out to people. I think LinkedIn loses its value when people are reaching out and they don't get a response back.
Awesome. So how do you like to get approached? Let's say if I'm a job hunter and I write to Tav, what should I say? Dear Tav, what follows next?
Dear Tav, I would say if you're applying to ApplyBoard, I would love it and I appreciate it. And I think that you will appreciate it too, the job seeker, that if you do a level of research, you understand what we do and where you want to fit into the company, and then you reach out to me. There's an intention, there's a purpose there, and it's clearly laid out. I like a message like that when it's geared towards ApplyBoard. If it's somebody that wants to learn more about interviewing, resume skills, or just kind of like broad questions, I'm very open-minded to that. Then I'm open to having conversations and kind of having a dialogue around, interviewing, job skills, the job market.
Okay, I'm very actually interested in getting your perspective, because you're on the receiving end. Let's say you're posting something and the person starts to engage in the comment section on your post. Do you feel like, oh, I know what you want to do, it's a waste of my time? Or you feel like, oh yeah, I really appreciate your attention and your time. Yeah, now you can connect and we can have this conversation. Reaction.
I never, genuinely never think anyone wastes my time. I genuinely feel that, sometimes people may message me and they don't think about, or they haven't planned out why they're messaging me. And I think that just requires a simple, hey, check out our job board, or hey, what is your intention here? It's really just a simple response back. It doesn't have to be like, this person is wasting my time. I think we're all just trying to learn and network and grow. And I think that the way that we do it sometimes, it can definitely be misguided. So my approach to, I guess, what you just said is always to keep an open mind, is to value every single person that reaches out to me and their time.
I would say go deep and be meaningful. And also be persistent. I think all this rule on LinkedIn that people say, earn your right to ask. I think it's definitely valuable piece of advice, right?
100%. Yeah. I honestly love it when candidates ask me for a second chance. If the phone screen didn't go too well, I appreciate that and admire that. Even if I can't give them a second chance, I still admire their persistency.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. So, of course, God forbid, but let's imagine right now, Tav needs to find a new job. What would be your strategy? What would you do right straight off the bat?
Okay. So the first thing I would tell myself is, okay, time to, get ready. We're getting on this roller coaster. It's going to be it's going to be a bumpy ride. There's going to be a lot of ups and downs. I think that when we get rejected from jobs, we equate that to our, self-worth way too often. So I would just remind myself that this is going to be a learning process and to have fun. That'd be the biggest thing, is to have fun. Once I have my mental game or my spiritual game like ready to go, then I will start doing the research. I will start to revamp my resume. I will start to put together a map. Like, what is my ideal role? What am I looking for? What are the skills that I want to improve on and develop? What are my strongest skill set? So kind of have this profile of myself ready to go. And then when I'm applying to jobs, have a focus and yeah, just make sure my resume is on par. Personally, I don't do the networking on LinkedIn, reaching out to hiring managers. I just make sure that my resume is very, very reflective of who I am and what I'm looking for.
And you make sure that it's a strong fit, it's a strong application before you apply.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Tell us a little bit about talent acquisition. Like, what are your challenges normally? My
challenges is honestly, it's also the level of responsiveness. It's being able to respond back to everybody within 48 hours. I personally have tried to do within 24 hours, and I do achieve that most of the time. But, sometimes the messages you get from candidates, they're sad messages about how people lost their jobs. And it's really telling yourself that, you can't help everybody, and kind of just reminding yourself of that. So it's a double-edged sword. I love being responsive to people, but then also the level of responsiveness can be emotionally wearing.
So how do you keep yourself kind of grounded, the deeper self? How do you not burn out with trying to catch up with everyone? Because it's hard. I understand it's hard to trying to please everyone, trying to respond to everyone. How do you keep calm?
I have a clear distinction of what my boundaries are. Professional and human, I don't cross those boundaries. I think you can be professional and be warm and still be human without having to cross boundaries that kind of trickle into unprofessionalism. Or, I'll leave it at that. And then if I need to step away, I'll step away. Health is wealth. That's always been my mantra. Self-care before anything, because if I don't feel good, then I'm not going to be able to respond back in the best way or the most effective and meaningful way. So I would say that health is wealth. I keep that in mind, and I pull away when I need to, and I make sure that I stay within my boundaries.
Awesome. All right. I think that's very important what you said, and that should be the first element of job hunting, right? You need to set up as you said, have your mindset first, but also have a good system in place, and then go into this with a very kind of very well structured approach. Okay. So you mentioned professionalism, and I'm kind of I can see how professional you are. What makes you you? What makes Tav Tav? Why you do what you do in the way you do?
I think what makes me me is I just do my best to lead with vulnerability. I feel like that being human in every single thing that I do is the most important thing to do. So that's what makes me me. And I think that's what allows me to be able to respond back to every single person that reaches out to me and not feel like that anyone's wasting my time, because at the end of the day, we're all human beings and we're all just trying to get by, to get jobs and find jobs that make us happy. And we're learning and we're growing and we're making mistakes. So just keep all of that in mind.
Be authentic, be genuine, but be also very intact with your inner self.
Yes, and have some fun.
Have some fun on the way. Yeah, it is a roller coaster. Yeah, but that's kind of on the mindset side. But on the professional side, what would be your personal rules, your personal codex of professionalism?
Well, sticking to the boundaries, right? And I guess I can give an example when it comes to sticking to boundaries. So when I get candidates asking me, look at my resume, tell me where you think I fit into the company. It's important to me to have a very fine line with how I respond to that. I personally don't find it empowering to tell a candidate or a job seeker where I think that they fit into the company, especially when there are a bunch of candidates that will do the work and do the research and have a focus and apply with the focus and intent, right? And I find that whole process empowering. So when someone asks me to look at their resume and they say like, tell me where I think, or tell me where you think I'd fit in, it'd be so easy for me to tell them where I think they fit in. But I feel like that I need to have a very fine boundary, because I think that being professional is also equipping the candidate and the job seeker with empowerment as well. And I think that that is something that we just don't see in the recruitment process, or in the interview process.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. I like that you said that empowerment comes with the responsibility. As a job seeker, as a job hunter, if you assume 100% of responsibility for your outcomes, that's where 100% of empowerment comes from, right? And I think whenever you talk with people, you always need to understand which place you're coming from, right? People who come from the place of entitlement, like, hey, go and do and tell me what are the job openings, tell me what you think, right? You're relinquishing your responsibility, and hence you're relinquishing your empowerment, right?
Exactly.
Whereas people who come from the place of humility, they always get what they want, right? There's no way you can mess it up, right?
And it does connect back to my level of responsiveness as well, right? So for me, my level of responsiveness is connected to wanting to empower other people. So that's why I don't find it as a waste of my time, because I also think that the responsibility I have, that being in this role, it is to also empower others, and it is to give people a helping hand.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think this is what this is our commonality. We are both on the mission, right? And this is what I send to you guys. If you're watching this, be on a mission, be like a part of something that is bigger than yourself. And remember, when it becomes not about you, you can always deliver more.
Yeah. I love that you said that. It's always, we have to remind ourselves that it's not always about us.
I got it from Doctor Strange movie,
Oh.
All right. Awesome. It's a tough game out there. What would be your message, your couple of words at the end of empowerment and encouragement?
For sure. Sometimes it's about timing. It's not always about whether you have the right profile, whether your profile matches. Sometimes it's just about timing. Sometimes we can get like a pool of applications in that it just makes it so competitive, and every single candidate in that pool is an excellent candidate, but it could literally be just that maybe that extra language skill set this one candidate had that now that person is moving forward in, right? So it's not always about if you have the right qualifications. Sometimes it's about timing as well. So with that, keep trying, keep doing your research, keep revamping your resume. I don't think that your resume should be sitting untouched for more than a month. I think that you constantly need to work on it. It is a reflection of who you are. You are changing every single day. So make sure you keep up to date with your resume. And like I said, I love to say it, and have fun. Be true to yourself and have fun throughout the entire process.
Awesome. All right. Well, there's nothing I can add to it. Thank you very much, Tav, for your time. I appreciate it. And I'll see you on LinkedIn. I'll see you in the real life as well, hopefully, when everything's finished.
Yeah, hopefully soon. Thank you so much for your time as well. This was fun.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.